Hey guys, it's Kaz here, and today I'm going to be doing my August wrap up. So in August I actually read quite a few things. A lot of them were little, not going to lie. A lot of comic-y, graphic novel, manga-y, small things. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I decided to not have a TBR in August, so I just sort of picked up whatever I was going to pick up. And it meant reading more than I usually would, because I was picking up those little things instead of having a set of bigger books. So let's just dive right in. The first thing I read was Our Tower by Joseph Colo and Richard Johnson. This is a child's book, as you can see. I don't normally read these, but it intrigued me. The art style did. It's really pretty in here, and this story is about these three children that all live in a tower block, and they go on a magical journey which, when they come back to the tower block, makes them realise that everywhere is beautiful. And that's all the premise for kids to read this and realise that even if they live in a tower block or in a really ugly, visually run-down place, that you can find beauty in it. And it's about the people and the experiences and the life and all that jazz. Obviously, nice vibes, good vibes. I'll show you the artwork because that is pretty much the greatest part of this. So it starts with a darker palette, obviously, all these tower blocks all shoved together, not really much space to do anything. Then it becomes a little bit lighter, a little bit more airy when they're in the forest. There's a bit more space to exist. And then when they go into the magical world, it becomes all this nice purple colour, which I just think is really nice. So yeah, I enjoyed it. If you have kids that are small, they will probably enjoy it too. After that I read A Flash of Fireflies by Aisha Bushby. This is middle grade, and it's this fantastical magical story, but also deals with mental health and OCD. So our main character, she has these fireflies that always come to her and they tell her she has to do something, and she has to keep doing that thing and getting those things. Like, for example, they tell her she has to collect these apples from this magical tree, and she has to keep picking them until they're satisfied, and it's like an allegory of mental health and OCD. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I liked the story. It's very much a fairy tale. She's at this new school. So she moves from, I can't remember where she moves from. She moves from somewhere over to England, and she's not used to it in England. Let me just quickly have a look because I can't remember where she moved from. Kuwait. So she's from Kuwait. She moves to England. Her dad's family lives in England, so she goes to stay with his sister. And at this new summer school, because she's there 6-week holidays, she starts learning about fairy tales and stuff, makes this new friend. And then those fairy tales sort of weave their way into her mental health / fantastical journey in her mind and in this place, and having to gather these different things and go on a journey and the quest, all that jazz. I really enjoyed the book. I thought it was really good, so if that sounds like something you're interested in, maybe you'll like it too. After that I read Gay Club by Simon James Green. Of course, you guys know I love Simon James Green, and this was his recent book, so I had to read it. This one is about a gay club, LGBT plus club, and they want to have a new president. Our main character wants to be the president. There's this other girl that wants to run for the president, and then it's opened up to the whole school that has to vote, and it's all about these different things and presidential things and political ways that they're trying to make people have certain thoughts about them, like fake dating trope, or oh, I'm better than this person because of this, or oh, here's some secrets from them, all that jazz. And then it goes from there and stuff happens. So this one I have a little bit of slight mixed feelings with, not really, but also a little tiny bit. So I did really enjoy the book. I liked the characters, I liked the premise, I enjoyed the whole time. On the flip side, it felt like the least Simon James Green book that I've ever read. It didn't have that quintessentially British feeling. The school very much felt like it could have been set in America. And I don't want his writing to have to cater to Americans to get more people reading his books, but maybe it does, and that'll be sad. I hope this is the exception, not the rule, because it felt less silly, it felt less quintessentially British, it felt less like specific Simon James Green. But I did really enjoy it, but I hope that this isn't the way his writing's going to go. I'm cool with him having like some slightly less silly, slightly older characters, not necessarily older actually, but older in their mind. They're not like all this secondhand embarrassment, all that jazz that comes with Simon James Green's characters. But I just hope that that's not where his whole writing career is going to go, because I really enjoy it, and I didn't laugh at this book. It had fun things, but I really enjoyed laughing and getting the silliness of a Simon James Green book. And this didn't necessarily have that, but I did really enjoy it as well. And you know, if this was anybody else I wouldn't be saying this bit. It's a really good book, but it just didn't have that spark of a Simon James Green book that I normally have when I read his books. But I did really enjoy it and I thought it was really good, so yeah, read it. So next up, I didn't necessarily read these all in one chunk, but throughout the month I read Lumberjanes, well, volume 2 to 5 and then volume 7 because volume 6 wasn't on Kindle Unlimited for some reason. But yes, I read a bunch of Lumberjanes, all of the ones I could get my hands on for free, and I had a good time. Some of them were better than others, all of them were very whimsical and silly and fun. The artwork changed in one of them, I can't remember where, maybe number 5, and that was my least favourite because art changes happen and that's fine, but they made some of the characters look completely different. Like, you still have to have the same shaped characters and you can have them in the same style, but they looked so different that I didn't even realise it was them until another character said their name. But other than that, I had a really fun time. I enjoyed it. I feel like some of the volumes, the story feels like it's progressing a bit. You get some little tidbits of what's really happening on the camp, and there's one that had a prequel, which was really cool, showing all the characters getting at the camp when they first started there. I really enjoyed that one. Other ones just felt like a single standalone story. It felt a little bit like filler sometimes. Sometimes I wasn't mad about that because it was just a fun time. All the time it just felt like it just happened and I didn't really care about it. Like volume 7 I think was one where it was like this underwater mermaid people, and it was alright, but it just felt like, okay, that was just pointless kind of thing. It was fine, but it didn't feel like it did anything for the characters or for the storyline, the plot or anything. It was just a bit of a fun, silly time, which is what Lumberjanes is in general anyway, but some of them are more fun than others. But yeah, I had a good time and I hope I can get my hands on all the rest of them because they're 20 volumes and I don't have to buy them all because that's a lot. But yes, I had a good time and hopefully I'll eventually get back and read number 6. I wasn't going to read 7 because it felt weird missing one out, but because it's so eclectic and makes no sense in a linear way, I thought, you know what, it's fine to not read number 6 and just go straight to 7. I do want to eventually read it, but I was like, this one's free right here, right now, so I'm going to read it. But yes, I had a good time. After that I read Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second and final book in the King of Scars duology and I loved it. I don't know why some people have a problem with this series because I loved it. It took me so long to read King of Scars because there were so many mixed signals. People felt like, I heard lots of meh, and I read it and I loved it, and then I read this and I loved this as well. The one thing that I was kind of umming and ahhing about, there's a character that's brought back in this one from one of the previous series, because obviously this is set in the Grisha universe. There are characters from the different books, and there's one character that came back and I was like, is this really necessary to the plot? It felt like the whole thing could have happened without that character being there and they didn't necessarily need to happen. There was enough things happening in the book, but then right at the end it was like almost kind of perhaps maybe set out that there could perhaps potentially be another book following some of the other characters, and then I wasn't mad about it because I was like, well, that'll be really cool if that happens. So, you know, it was fine. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I love these characters, I love the world. I know so many people love Shadow and Bone series, but I feel like that's the weakest of the three. There's Shadow and Bone, there's the Six of Crows, and then there's this. I feel like Shadow and Bone is the weakest. It's very average YA fantasy. I feel like the other series that Leigh Bardugo has built on after that, since that in the same universe, take this magic system in this world and actually use it to its potential rather than just being a really blah, bland YA trilogy. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed this series. I don't know why some people don't. I loved it. It was a great time. Glad I finally got around to actually reading it. And I'm also glad that I didn't wait ages to read the second one, because I didn't want to forget stuff that happened in the first, and that is what I do all the time. So yeah, if you haven't read this series yet because you're a bit apprehensive because some people have said middling to negative things about it, personally I am very much an advocate for this series. I think it was great. And I understand I pretty much said nothing about what it was about, but you know, if you haven't read the other stuff, then mentioning some of the characters might be spoilers for the other stuff, and you know, just my overall vibe for it, I very much enjoyed it. So we're about halfway through. I'm going to head on over to a message from one of the sponsors and I shall be back with the rest of the books.
Hi, does it smell like catnip? Yeah, it does.
So after that, I'm just gonna blast through this one real quick because it was really small. It was like 25 to 30 pages. But I read the last issue of Love and War, I think it's called. I mentioned this in my last month's wrap up. It's just a contemporary sports graphic novel about tug of war. I very much enjoyed this volume. I talked about it a little bit more, the other 4 volumes, in the last month's wrap up, so watch that if you want. Moving on. I did enjoy that one though, so yeah. Next, I finally finished the Saga of Darren Shan manga. So I read all of these. This is volume 8 to 12, finishing off the manga. If you've been here for a few years, and I don't know why it's taken me this long to do this, but I couldn't find volume 8 anywhere, and then Darren Shan actually sent me this, and it's not even in English, but I flicked through it. I counted that as reading it because I know the story, so I kind of knew what was going on. So yes. But yeah, I finally read the manga, finished it off. I've had it for ages. First of all, I will say, I highly recommend reading the Saga of Darren Shan actual books before reading the manga because they have so much more information in them. Everything is built upon more, the characters, the world, the stuff that's happening, the fight scenes, everything is just better. This is just like a little add-on for fans that already know the series, that's what I would say. I would not say go into the manga first because I feel like it doesn't have everything. It lacks certain things that the books do well because they're written and it's better. So for example, fight scenes I mentioned, is a lot easier to write out a fight scene than it is to show it in static images on like 1 or 2 pages. You know what I mean? It gives you more context to what's happening. So I did enjoy these. I think I gave them all sort of maybe 3.5-ish, around that. Maybe one of them was a 4 because it was more fun and more faithful to the books. Not that they're unfaithful, I just feel like they don't give you everything that you need that you get from the books. And the books are like this thin as well. I think they're all under or just over 200 pages, so there's no excuse to not read the 12 books in the Saga of Darren Shan. And then you can move on to the manga if you want. I did have a good time though, and I'm glad I finally finished them. And also, I will forever enjoy the fact that I got these because Darren Shan sent me this. And it says, to carry on, an A1 ally, best of luck with the translation. Darren Shan, 25th of the 2nd, 2020. That's how long I've had this and not finished the series, so you know, I finally got there. After that, I read 1500 Miles to the Sun, and that is by Johnny Garza Villa. I had to have it on Goodreads, so I remembered his name. But yeah, I read that also on Kindle Unlimited. I had 3 months free, that's why I've read quite a few ebook stuff, because get the money's worth, or not the money's worth because it was for free, but get the worth's worth. So this one is a contemporary. It is about this boy who is gay, but he's not openly gay, but he's also not like, not just being himself. His dad is very much homophobic and very set in his ways. I can't remember where they're from. Some Mexico maybe? Don't quote me on that. But he's got like very traditional ideas of what a man is meant to be, all that jazz. But let me just look because I can't remember his name and I'm really terrible at names. What's his main guy's name? La 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 la. Where is the synopsis? La la la. Julian. Yes. He has a group of friends who are mostly boys, and I really enjoyed the friend dynamic because they do find out he's gay and all of them just treat him normally. I like how much friendship is shown. Like, they're really cuddly with each other and will tell each other nice things about each other, and like at one point they sleep in the same bed and it's fine, and I really enjoy that because it shows healthy male relationships. They're allowed to show emotion and show love to each other without it being weird and without it being like, oh, but he's gay so now I'm not allowed to do that. So I really enjoyed that aspect. It's also, it just feels like a really modern book, and that makes me sound old, but it's all about this online dating. So Julian meets this person on, I want to say Twitter, no not Twitter, on Instagram, and then they have this online thing talking to each other, and they, you know, get together and stuff. So it feels very current, very modern, because it's all like online relationships using social media. all this stuff that's very now and current. And again, I sound so old saying that. But yeah, I thought the relationship was sweet. The book was sweet. I gave it like 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed the friend dynamic more than I enjoyed the relationship. I didn't hate the relationship. I just felt like they didn't have as much of a connection that they could have had. Like, it's all online for a long time, and I felt like they could have been deeper with the emotions, or we could have seen a bit more there, but we didn't. I didn't hate the relationship, but it wasn't like the thing that was holding me onto the book. That was the family, not the family, the friend, but friends are family. The found family of this friendship group. That was the best bit for me. But yeah, I enjoyed the book. It was good. After that, I read Concrete Rays by Angie Thomas. It's been a minute since I read The Hate You Give, so genuinely I can't remember anything about that book. Like, obviously I know the very, very specifics. I know that Star exists. I know that Maverick is her dad and this is about her dad. I can't remember the contexts of any of the stuff that happens there. Obviously I know of her brother Seven and stuff like that, but some of the names I recognised from that book, but I couldn't remember 100% what their storyline was. So it was quite fun, because in here I wasn't like expecting everything, and I didn't know exactly how things would go because I can't bloody remember. It's been a while. I feel like I might watch the film because I've never seen that before. I don't know if it's a good or bad adaptation, but now I've read this, I might watch the film and like it'll jog my memory a little bit, and because I haven't seen it, it might be fun. I don't know. Let me know if you've seen the film. Is it worth watching or is it terrible? But yes, I very much enjoyed this book. It did give me a lot of the same vibes that I got from Boys Don't Cry by Mallory Blackman. They very much deal with the same topic, so if you did like this and you haven't read that, read that, and vice versa. They both follow a young teenage black man becoming a single parent, and they both do it really well, and they have their own ways and different things happen, but there are some similarities in there, so I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that book and I enjoyed this book, so you know, there's your recommendations if you've read one and not the other. But yeah, I thought this was a really good book. I enjoyed it. I liked the storyline. I liked how they showed the different sides and the different aspects of Maverick. You saw him struggling with different things, like he's in a gang, so he has to show this tough side. He's got this baby, so he has to show a father inside, but he's also quite scared and intimidated about the fact that he's now a father. But he has all these different emotions. He has his relationship with his mum. There's also the guy at the shop that's like a father figure to him, but then he's also got his actual father in prison, so there's all those different emotions. So I really enjoyed all the different emotions that we saw of this one teenage character, and yeah, it was a good time. After that, I read Awkward by Svetlana Chmakova. This is one that I've had on a list of graphic novels to read for ages. When I first started reading graphic novels, I just made a big list, and I saw it was free on here, so I read it, and it was really fun. This was middle grade, and it follows this girl at school, and I didn't necessarily know what the storyline was going to be. I knew it was going to be about her being awkward, but it was really fun because it was about being in this group at school. She's in the art group, like the art club, and it's all about the art club and the friends that she makes there. And then there's this big rivalry of the art club and the science club, and they have to do these different things, and it was really fun to read. It's also about just being a bit socially awkward and about her friendship or hopeful friendship with this boy that she meets that you can see on the front cover. So yeah, it's just about being cute, being friends, art, science, doing stuff, joining together, being friends. It was a fun time. And that was the last thing I read because I just looked on there and the other one was Lumberjanes, and I've already talked about that. So yes, those are all the things that I read in August. Let me know what you read in August. If you've read any of these, let me know your thoughts, your feelings, your things, your stuff down in the comments, and then it'll be a good time hopefully. And yeah, if this is your first video by me, you enjoy it, then please check out some of my others, and if you continue to enjoy, please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, I'll see you in a few days with another video.